lot of strands. Gotta find your place, that make me the hardest grind. You gotta line up and wait, that's how the heart's designed. That's how the heart's designed. Waking up in my holy home, no fears, my worries gone. Adonai up on the throne, all together we not alone. Living right, we ain't living wrong. Grab my tefillin and put it on. It's Yom Kippur, let's get a tone. Saturday, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Pulling up in that black rover, treat every week like it's Passover. All I'm eating is matzo bread. Got the sauce, no pasta, yeah. Remember everything that my mama said. Live by the golden rule. Treat them how you wanna be treated. That's one thing that I know to do. Tell your children stay out the streets. Read a book and go to school. Intelligence is over cool. That ignorance that you going through. Yom Kippur trying to get atonement for everything that I've done. For Adonai, Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son. I rise up with the sun. The moon and stars help me see the night. Safe from darkness to the nations. I promised I would be a light. Pass it down through generations. That's why we learn to read and write. Shabbat Shalom, say the kiddish your light. An extra candle for me tonight. Waking up in my holy home. No fears, my worries gone. Adonai up on the throne. All together we not alone. Living right, we ain't living wrong. Grab my tefillin and put it on. It's Yom Kippur, let's get a tone. Saturday, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Facebook Live, good morning, Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good morning, YouTube with Keeping It Simple. With Orlando Keeping It Simple. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? I hope everybody had a great week this week. I hope you all have did what the Most High have asked you to do. I hope you have been getting the things that you desire. I hope everything has been coming to fruition for you, or coming to pass for you. I hope that you have been praying and fasting and seeking the word of the Most High. So let us go ahead and get started this morning. On Exodus chapter 20. Verse 1 through 17. And yes, I read this on a continuous basis so that it can be drilled into our head or into our hearts, so we can truly understand why we do what we do. And it reads, And El spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy El, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage, and thou shalt have no other Els before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah thy El, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy El in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy works. But the seventh day is the Shabbat, of the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy El. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers, that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy El giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor. Let us pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory, forever and ever. So let it be. Good morning, Facebook Live. Good morning, Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good morning, Orlando with Keeping It Simple YouTube. Yes, I hope you all had a great week this week. I hope everything went well for you all this week. I know we have been having some bad weather for the Midwest and Northeast area. I hope everybody is able to have made it through the snow. I hope no one's power went out this week on them, and if it did, I hope they was able to make it through with their survival essentials. And I hope that your family's in good health and safe conditions. But let us go ahead and get started this morning. Because I think I'm going to have a lot of information that I'm going to try to put out this morning. I mean, a lot of information. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be a lot. And I want to try to get it done within an hour and a half. And I want to be able to make sure that everybody comprehend it. But if you could turn to the word of Jeremiah chapter 16. Jeremiah chapter 16, and it's going to be from 14 down to 21, and the key verse is going to be verse 19. But I'm going to read everything from 14 down to 21, but I'm going to emphasize verse 19. I'm going to emphasize verse 19. And it says, therefore, Jeremiah 16:14, it reads, therefore, behold, the days come, said Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. But the Yahuwah liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, from all the land whether he has driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Behold, I will send for many. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith Yahuwah. They shall fish them. And after I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, out of the holes of the rocks. For my eyes are upon all their ways, and they are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquities hid from my eyes. And I will first recompense their iniquities and their sins double, because they had defiled my land, they had filled my inheritance with carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. O Yahuwah, Yahuwah, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in the days of afflictions. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the end of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and there are no gods? Ooh, listen to that. Shall a man make gods unto himself, and they are no gods, and no Els? Therefore, behold, I will this once cause them to know. I will cause them to know my heart, my hand, and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah, or Yahuwah. So, the key title of the text this morning is, I could use both of them. The key title of the text this morning is, I'm going to use verse 19, 20, and 21. And I'm going to emphasize these three a lot. And I'm going to pick certain things out of it so that you can be able to understand. It says, Yahuwah my strength, my fortress, my refuge in the days of afflictions. Jeremiah is acknowledging who is his strength, who is his fortress, and refuge in the day of his situations. He said, the Gentiles shall come unto you, the Gentiles shall come unto the Most High from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities and things wherein there is no profit. Shall a man make Els unto himself, and they are no Els? Listen to this one, and I'm gonna stick with this one. Therefore behold, I will this once cause them to know. Cause them to know. I will cause them to know my hand, my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahuwah. And if I may give a title of the text today, the title of the teachings today, the title of the text today is The Great Lie that has been told. No, the great lie ever told. The great lie that was told. The great lie that was told was hidden, but the truth is coming out. The great lie that was told. The great lie that was told is now the truth is coming out. The great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. I messed up on that, but it's okay. The great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. Because if we look at verse 19, the great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. Okay, if we look at verse 19, we'll look at when in the second portion of the verse, it says that Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities and things wherein there is no profit. The great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. Okay, so now if we look at the word inherit, it's a 13th century word. It's a 13th century word, inherit. It means to make someone an heir. Attribute the rights of inheritance to. Appointed heirs or get by succession as representative of the former possessor. Put into possessions means that they inherited something. They got something that was passed down from generation to generation. Inherited means that somebody passed something down from generation to generation. It says to make someone an heir, attribute the rights of inheritance. Okay? Then it says heir. What is an heir? An heir is a person that receives the inheritance. An heir is children or offspring, one who inherits, such as insurance money, properties, lands, business, etc. Heritage or history. Okay, that's an heir is a 13th century word. Inheritance. Inherit is a 13th century word. Okay? Lies and fraud. Lies and fraud. Speak falsely, tells untruth for the purpose of misleading intentionally. It means deceit, belie, or betrayed. That's what lies means. Lie means it's an intentional motive from the mind to speak falsely, to tell untruth for the purpose of misleading intentionally, deceive, belie, or betrayal. Okay? Because what he said in verse 19, he says, Yahuwah, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in the days of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Inherited means something that was passed down from generation to generation. Lies is speak falsely. They have been passed down falsely information, vanity, and things wherein there's no profit. And the title of the text today again is The Great Lie. The great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. Okay, so what happened in Jeremiah chapter 16 is talking about, in the first part of Jeremiah 1 through 13, it's talking about a judgment that will come upon the children of Israel. It says, the word of Yahuwah came unto me also, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have a son or daughter in this place. For thus said Yahuwah concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers that bear them, and concerning their fathers that are begotten them in this land. They shall die of grievous death. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall as be dung upon the face of the earth. And they shall be consumed by the sword, and by famine, and by their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of the birds of heaven, for the beasts of the earth. It's talking about a situation that the children of Israel will be going, get ready to go through, or be going through. And it's talking about the judgment that will come upon the land. It said they will die from famine, they will die from weapons, and they will die from pestilence, diseases. And it seems like we're in that time right now that you see the children of Israel are dying from famine, they're dying from weapons, and they're dying from pestilence. But this is a story, or this is a teaching of restoration. But what's going to happen during the time of your restoration is the people that was persecuting you will have a revelation. They will have a revelation of actually what has happened throughout generations and generations and generations. Because it tells you that in verse 19 it says, we have inherited, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Meaning that their moment of truth, the moment of truth have come to the Gentiles. The moment of truth have come to the Gentiles. And now, in this process, you're starting to see, like soon as I woke up this morning, the first thing popped up on my phone is a Gentile starting to acknowledge the children of Israel for who they are. It was starting to acknowledge the children of Israel for who they are. What you want to call quote-unquote African American people for who they are. They started to acknowledge us for who we are. In the midst of our afflictions, they started to acknowledge that we are the children of the Most High. They starting to do this, and this is a biblical prophecy. Now, I put out on post this morning 2 or 3 times this week. I think I put on Facebook where it was a European lady came out and said, yes, African American people are the children of Israel. This morning I put it out on a post where it says that this European guy came out and said, yes, African American people are the children of Israel. So now they started to realize that they have inherited lies for a long period of time. It's so much truth that's starting to be revealed within the land. It's so much truth that's starting to be opening up. And see, the Gentiles are recognizing that they've been lied to for so long. They've been lied to for a long period of time. And they can't even comprehend it because they thought what they was taught was the truth, but not realize who actually set up the educational system in our society and globally. And see, once they understood who really set up the educational system globally, they really understand that, yes, I've been tricked, hoodwinked, and bamboozled all my life. And see, that's the hardest part for us to understand, because they've been lied to a long time, and we have been too. But it's going to hit them much harder than it hit us. When it hit us, it's like a liberation movement. It's a freedom movement. But let me go to John 8 and 32. John 8 and 32. St. John 8:32. Because this is what it says in St. John 8 and 32. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It's not a physical freedom, it's a spiritual freedom. See, the sad part about it is some of the camps are persecuting the people in a harsh way. Not necessarily saying that they should or shouldn't do it, but now because you now because you understand who the true people are, and you starting to get a grasp of the truth, you starting to be no different than the Gentiles who's walking in their truth, who was walking in their truth. They're starting with some of the camps, and some of the people out here are starting to be just like the Gentiles when they used to walk around and persecute us. Now we're walking around persecuting them. That makes us no different than them. But it says, and the truth shall make you free. That's a spiritual freedom as well as a physical freedom, but it first starts in the mind. So now all these things, the Gentile recognize that, man, I've been lied to. That's a harsh reality for them. That is a very harsh reality for them, because their life and their world has been shattered. Everything about them has been shattered for those people who actually starting to come into the truth. But I want to talk about the three things that I think that the Most High gave me this morning are the things that shadows the most, that is very shadowing the most, or most hurtful the most. And I want to deal with identity. I want to deal with identity first, because the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Identity. We're going to deal with the lies of identity. The lies of identity. Let's go to Revelations chapter. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2. Let's go to Revelation chapter 2. Because we're talking about identity. Everybody's starting to wake up and realize that, how can this verse be talking about this verse and talking about identity? It says, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty. What's happening here is that the Most High, Yahshua the HaMashiach, is saying, I know what your works are, and I know your problems, and I know your financial situations. He said, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. He said, I know the blaspheme of them which say they are Jews and are not. They're talking about an identity now. He's talking about an identity. Because he say, which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. He saw in this verse here, he said one thing is, they're not the true Yehuda. They're not the true Jews, but they are the synagogue of Satan. And he was talking about their identity in this part. He said, I'm going to tell you one thing, Israel. He said, they're not the true Jews, but they are the synagogue of Satan. They are the head of the whole problems on the earth. They are the main source of issues on the earth. He said they are the main problem. They are the ones that want to be in charge. They are the ones that want to be the head people in charge. Point blank, simple as that. He said they're lying about their identity, first of all. Their identity is that they're not who they say they are. They're somebody else. Okay? And I'm gonna go to a couple of verses in here. Let's go to John 8 and St. John 8. St. John's 8. And I'm trying to make sure I deliver this right today. We're talking about identity. St. John 8 and 33. But I'm going to go to verse 32 first, what I just read, because we got to understand when you know the truth, the truth will spiritually set you free. Okay. Now, this is Yahshua speaking to them. Let's go to verse 31. It said, Then said Yahshua to those Jews which believe on him, If you continue in my word, then are ye my disciples, or Talmudims, indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answer him, We be of Abraham's seed. They didn't say Israel. They didn't say Jacob. They said, they answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? See, in this part right here, they was looking at it from a physical. They wasn't looking at it from a spiritual context of telling the truth. They was looking at it from a physical context. So, what they were saying, you have to go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 to be able to understand that why they saying that they wasn't in a physical bondage. They wasn't never bondage to a man, because if you go to Deuteronomy 28, 68, it says, Yahuwah shall bring thee into bondage again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for slave men and slave women, and no man shall buy you. What they were saying is, oh, we don't fit that prophecy there. We was never in bondage to any man. And if they're saying that no, we don't fit that bondage to any man, but we are of the identity of Abraham's seed, who they saying they identify with? They saying that they don't identify with the children of Jacob. They don't identify with them, but they do identify with Abraham. They do identify with Abraham, but they do not identify with Jacob. So they're saying that, yeah, we are Pharisees and Sadducees and priests and all of that, but we don't identify with Abraham. I mean, we don't identify with Israel. We identify with Abraham. That's what they're saying. They don't identify with Jacob. They identify with Abraham. They telling us who they identify with. So let us go with let's go with the identity. Let's go back to Genesis 42. Genesis 42 and 8. I'm going to go to 7. And see, everybody can have a mistaken identity. Everybody say that they can look like somebody even though they may not be who they say they look like. See, let's go to verse 7. And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them. Listen to this. Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Which come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. They didn't even understand the identity of their own brother because of the apparel that he had on, the clothing and the position that he had. Joseph had grew to a status in life where they forgot how their own brother looked. False identity. He knew them, but they didn't know him. See, identity can be, you can think because somebody look like somebody, think that that's who they are, but in actuality that's not who they are. Because Joseph was dressed up like as an Egyptian, but Joseph was a Hebrew. Joseph was from the land of Canaan. Joseph wasn't from Egypt. But he dressed up as if he was an Egyptian. So that's why they mistaken him, thought he was an Egyptian, but he wasn't an Egyptian. So Joseph was an imposter to a certain degree. But he was playing the role because that's the status he was in at the time. He wasn't an intentional imposter. He was in Egypt, so he had to dress like an Egyptian. Even though he was in Hebrew. Let that sit in for a minute. Sometimes people can dress up and play the role of something even though they're not what they're dressing up and play the role as. He had the authority. He had everything he's supposed to have. But deep down in his heart, he was not an Egyptian. He was a Hebrew. And then because he had all the characteristics of an Egyptian, they assumed he was an Egyptian, even though he wasn't an Egyptian. Now, let's go back to Revelation. Let me read Revelation again. Let's go back to Revelation 2:9. Joseph had the authority. He had the apparel. He had everything that he needed to look like an Egyptian, even though he wasn't an Egyptian. He was a Hebrew. Now let's go to Revelation 2:9. It says, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. He said, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but the synagogue of Satan. See, these people who say they are Jews, they wear the fringes or the tassels. They had the power and the authority or the quote-unquote anointing. They can look and act and be like what the Jews are supposed to be and act like, but even though they're not who they say they are. Everybody can look a certain way, which gives you a lie or fraud, but doesn't mean that that's who they really are. Everybody can give you a perception of who they want you to think, who they want you to believe, but in actuality, they're not there. See, the identity of the true people have been hidden for so long. And that is a shame. It has been hidden. But the Most High in this time, He is waking everyone up to the reality. That's why it says in Jeremiah, let me go back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 16:20. He's waking up. He punished us. Now He's waking them up. Jeremiah 19, it says, and they have inherited, and it says, and the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely Surely our fathers have inherited lies. They inherited lies because of what has been passed down from generation to generation. What has been passed down from generation to generation. I'm going to go to 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. 1 Maccabees 3 and 48. How identities can be passed down. False identities can be passed down from generation to generation. And it reads in 1 Maccabees 3 and 48, it says, "And lay open the books of the Torah of Yahuwah, wherein the heathens of the Gentiles have sought to paint the likeness of their image. They brought also priest garments, and the first fruits, and the tithings, and the Nazarites that stirred up who had complained their days." See, in the Renaissance period, when it says the heathens had sought to paint the likeness of their image, that's when Caesar Borgia was painted, or the European Jesus came to an existence during the Renaissance period. The identity of the black Jesus was gone. And then the Renaissance period, the European Jesus, or the European Jesus came to an existence. So that's when we're talking about in 1 Maccabees 3 and 48, saying, "Laid open the books of the Torah and Yahuwah, wherein the heathens of the Gentiles had sought to paint the likeness of their image all over the walls." First, in order to be somebody, you first have to change the identity of the people who you're trying to be like. See, everybody thought that Egypt was a European nation, a country. Everybody thought that Egypt was that. Everybody thought that what they call Sudan or Nubia was a European country. Or Cushites. Everybody thought that Ethiopia was prevalent and evident that none of these countries over in the continent of quote-unquote Africa was black. But Ethiopia means black, land of the blacks. So if Ethiopia was associated with Egypt, and the Messiah was told to go to Egypt, and the Ethiopians was mixing with the Egyptians, and the Nubian was mixing in with the Egyptians, how could the chosen people be of a European identity? How could it be? When Ethiopia means land of the black. Niger, in Acts chapter 12, means black. How could that identity change? How could it be as if these are European people that's all throughout the book? But first they had to change the identity. How they change the identity? I'm gonna read a little bit of the 13th tribe. This book called the 13th tribe. Okay? So, let me tell you something. The reason why all these things are happening is because of power and influence. Power and influence. In order to be somebody, you got to first change the image on how that person is supposed to look in order to change, to understand that. Okay, the 13th tribe. It says the reason for the conversion to Judaism of the king of the Khazars, who had previously been a pagan, is as follows. See, the Khazars are in Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 through 5. And it reads, it says, who had previously been a pagan. The people who now say they are Jewish were once considered to be pagan people. But first, how they had to be able to be the anointed people, they had to be able to be converted. It says, who had previously been a pagan is as follows. He had adopted Christianity. Then he recognized in his falsehood, he had recognized Christianity's falsehood and discussed this matter, which greatly worried him with one of his high officials. Excuse me. And later said to him, O king, those possessions of the sacred scriptures fall into three groups. Summon them and ask them to state their case. Then follow one who is in the possession of the truth. See, the Khazars was looking for the truth. But they understood that the only two religions at the time that was dominant was the Christianity religion that was dominated by the Roman Empire or the Pope, and the Islamic religion in Baghdad. So those are the two religions that was dominant at the time, but the Khazars understood that both of them had a foundational purpose, which was the Torah. Okay? See, Islam or the Muslim belief is the fundamental, is the base, their fundamental belief is based on the Torah. That's their fundamental belief. And Christianity is based on, quote unquote, they said a falsehood religion. Okay? So now it said, so he went to the Christians for a bishop. Now there was with the king a Jew, skilled in argument, who engaged him in dispute. He asked the bishop, what do you say of Moses, the son of Aram, and the Torah which revealed to him? The bishop replied, Moses is a prophet, the Torah speaks the truth. Then the Jew said to the king, he has already admitted the truth of my creed. Ask him now what he believes in. So the king asked him, and he replied, I say that Jesus the Messiah is the son of Mary. He is the Word. So both of them are agreeing on the same thing. And he has revealed the mysteries in the name of El. Then said the Jew to the king of the Khazar, he preaches a doctrine which I know not. While he accepts my proposition, but the bishop was not strong in producing evidence. Then the king asked for a Muslim. Then they sent him a scholar, clever man who was good at an argument. But the Jew hired someone who poisoned him on the journey, and he died. And the Jew succeeded in winning the king for his faith, so that he embraced Judaism. So the Khazars, who are considered to be the Turkish people, which came out of the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, they are considered to be the Jewish people, but they adopted that religion during the time of their fall. So they argue their identity. Even when you look at, say, Jewish, the word Jewish, it means related to. It means related to something. Doesn't mean that they are the true people. It means that they related to something. So when you're looking at it from that perspective, the lies was told for so long, but now the truth is coming out. The truth is, the people who say they are the Jews are really not the Jews. Okay? Let me read it. Also, how identities can be misunderstood. Let's go to Exodus chapter 2. 16. Because I'm saying that they don't have the identity, not saying that they are not good people. I'm just saying to you that their identity is not who they say they are. They are. That's why it says in Jeremiah, the Gentiles. Because if you look at it, the Ashkenazis are in Genesis chapter 10 verse 5. They came from the children of Japhet. So in Exodus chapter 2, verse 16 through 19, how identity, you can look like something, but that don't mean you are something. It says in Exodus chapter 2 and 16, it says, now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and draw water and filled the trough to water their father's flocks. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood and helped them and watered their flocks. And when they came to Jethro their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds. And they was talking about Moses, and Moses was an Hebrew. He was not an Egyptian, but he can look like an Egyptian. But even though he was not an Egyptian, just like Joseph looked like an Egyptian, even though he wasn't an Egyptian. Sometimes people can look the part, but that don't mean they can, who they look like, that don't mean that they are who they are. Just like they tell people, African American people are associated with the people of Africa. No, we're not. Our head structures are totally different than their head structure. Our tone, our skin complexions are totally different. So when you're looking at it, you can think somebody's the same, but they're actually not the same people. In my Zendevan dictionary, a compact dictionary, Shem, the second son of Noah, the progenitors of the Shemitic race, was born 98 years before the flood and lived 600 years, outliving his descendants in 9 generations, excepting Eber and Abraham. Okay, let me go to Ham. Because sometimes people say we are Africans, but we're not Africans. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark race, and not the Negroes. Even though we are the same when it comes to skin complexion, does not mean we're the same people of nationality. It says that Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and in one of the 8 persons lived through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark race, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites, which are the Palestinians. So even though we can look like an African, we're not an African. But how you can switch and make people think there's something when they're not, you first got to change the identity. That's why Psalms 83 is so valid and so important. Psalm 83 is very important because it's the rock on what everything else is built on. He said, keep not thy silence, O God, O El, hold not thy peace, And be not silent, O El, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. And they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden one. And I'm going to be honest with you. You don't think that the Ethiopians that is in Ethiopia right now or in the land of Palestine don't know who we are? They have said, come, let's cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. The first thing they had to do is take away the identity. Psalms 83:4, let us cut them off from being a nation. That's the identity part. That's what the Gentiles are starting to wake up and realize, no, hold on. The African American people are the real children people of Israel. They're the real true people of the Hebrew Israelite. They started to acknowledge the identity portion first. Now, the God, the El, the Elohim. Now they're going to start to realize that, okay, their true identity is Israel. Now, the Bible is their history book. And the Bible is the Word. And the Bible is the Most High. The Bible is Yeshua the HaMashiach. They're going to say, now it's starting to put pieces together. That name truly is Israel. So now when he said, I'm the El of Israel, so the Bible is their book. So first now, once you get your identity, you get your creator. Let's go to Revelation 3 and 9. See, all these things now finna start coming to fruition. And I mean, it finna start coming at a rapid pace. It finna start coming at a rapid pace where nobody can be able to stop it. Because it's like everybody's gonna start turning on the faucet at full flesh, and information just gonna start to pour out. Because so many people are starting to wake up to the truth. Revelation 3 and 9, and it reads, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, understanding. That's their God. That's their El. Satan is their El, which say they are Jews or not, but do lie. Lie means speak falsely, tell an untruth for the purpose of misleading intentionally. Deceit, belie, or betray. Behold, I will make them come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I, Yahuwah, have loved thee. Everybody gonna start to recognize now that this Bible is for us. And if they want to have salvation, they're going to have to come through us. Because the El is for us and for no one else. Let's go to John. St. John 8, 44 through 46. See, you can't, lie can only last so long. A lie can only last so long. St. John 8 and 44 through 46, it says, listen, because these are the same Jewish people, are the same Jews who said that we are of our father Abraham. Now the Messiah is telling them this. He said, no, you are of your father the devil. He said, no, you're not of the father, your father Abraham. No, you are your father the devil. And the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abided not in the truth, See, that's a lie. He didn't abide in the truth. And see, everybody around us is abiding in a lie right now. Everybody know who we are. Everybody know who our Creator is. But we are now starting to wake up to that. Everybody's starting to do that now. I saw another video on Facebook the other day where a guy was walking into the store. He had the tribe of Judah on his shirt. And the guy from Palestine said, I've been knowing y'all was the children of Israel. I can give you a little history lesson on it. But we didn't know that, but everybody else knew that. But now the lie is being revealed. Everybody's starting to wake up to it. And it says, abide not in the truth, because there's no truth in him when he speak a lie. He speak of his own. See, the reason why the Khazars adopted the religion of Judaism or Yehuda is because they wanted power and influence. See, the top two religions before they accepted the religion of Judaism was Christianity and Islam. So now, when they took on that religion or that faith or that belief, it became three religions. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And all of them are over in Palestine, dwelling in the dome of the rock right now. Because they didn't want to be submissive to another religion, to another faith. It says, when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Which of you did convince me of sin? If I say the truth, why do ye not believe me? For he that is of El heareth El's word. Ye therefore hear them not, because ye are not of El. He's saying, man, if you was of Abraham, if you was of Jacob, if you was of Israel, you will hear the Father's word. But because you're not from Israel, you can't hear it because you are the father of the devil. And see, we have to understand that goes back to Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12. That goes back to the angels falling from heaven, or the Shimeams, in Revelation. But all the truth is starting to be revealed. Now we started to know who worship who and who don't worship who. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah 8. Zechariah 8, 20 through 23. Because when you start to lie, that's what an adversary is. An adversary is a person that counters what you're trying to do. That's basically what an adversary is. He goes against what you're trying to do. And because he goes against what you're trying to do, you call him a devil. Because it tells you, I tell you the truth, but you like a lie. A truth and a lie is totally opposite. The truth goes against the lie, and the lie goes against the truth. It means that the lie is an adversary against the truth. And the truth is an adversary against the lie. Zechariah 8 and 20. Thus saith Yahuwah of armies, ye shall yet come to pass, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities, And the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before Yahuwah, and to seek Yahuwah of hosts. And I will go also. Yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahuwah of hosts in Jerusalem, and pray before Yahuwah. Listen. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nation, even shall take hold of the skirts of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that El is with you. See, everybody know who your creator is. Everybody know who your creator is. And everybody know who they was worshiping. But at the end times, everybody's going to attach themselves to you because because they know the truth. They're going to start attaching themselves to you because the blessing is you and who you worship. The blessing wasn't theirs and who they worship. The blessing is you and who you worship. But all of that is starting to be revealed now. All of that is starting to be revealed. A lot of Gentiles are starting to attach themselves to the Israelite, to Hebrews, or to the Israelite people, or to the tribe of Yehuda. Everybody's starting to do that now because they started to understand the truth. I remember I had a guy job. He said, he was a European guy. He said, I know I'm just a mutation of who you are. He said, I know who you are. I know who your L is. I know where I came from. He said, I know what I need to worship. See, they know in their minds what the situation is. They know this. Okay? In this book called The Undeniable. Okay? In The Undeniable, this book I have called The Undeniable, I'm going to show you some pictures of Christ in the 16th century. I don't know if you can see it or not, but these is a book in The Undeniable that was in the 16th century, means 1700s. These are pictures that were depicted in Russia during the 16th and 1700s. Them saying that the Messiah was a dark complexioned man. Hold on for a second. Let me find out. See, can I find another one? This is over in Cairo, Egypt. This is over in Cairo, Egypt, where it is depicted as him being a dark-skinned man. See, all these people knew this. They knew this. Let me see, can I find another one? They knew this. They say this is how Moses looked over there This is what they say how Moses looked. This is what they said how Moses looked. So they've been knowing this for a long time. They know what's going on. They know what's happening. Even the Pope, look at this. Even the Pope, he's standing in front of a dark-skinned brother. The truth is coming out. They can't hide it no more. I can give you so many pictures of how the Messiah looked. This is the undeniable. And see, the same thing is on the back of the book. What I just read. And Maccabees, second Maccabees. Second Maccabees 3 and 48. So it started to come out. It started to be published. These people know who your El is. These people know your identity. And they also know your land. They know your land. Let's go to Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel chapter 16 verse 3. Ezekiel chapter 16 verse 3, and it says, and say, thus said Yahuwah El unto Jerusalem, or Jerusalem. Ezekiel chapter 16 verse 3. It says, and say, thus said Yahuwah El unto Jerusalem, thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan. Okay. Canaan is Palestine. Not the little land that they call Israel today, because that was made up in 1947. That was made up in 1947 by the Balfour Declaration. It started in 1917, but it went into effect in 1947. Okay, so it was given to them in 1947, but it started in 1917 with the Balfour Declaration. Israel was never considered to be, that strip of land was never considered to be Israel. It was always considered to be Canaan or the Palestine. Okay? So when we're looking at it, that's not even a true home where the Messiah said He gonna give us. We don't know exactly where it's at. Okay, and I'm gonna show you the reason why. Let's go to Jubilees. The book of Jubilees, chapter 9. Book of Jubilees, chapter 9. Because chapter 9 is talking about Noah's was dividing up the continent, a dividing of the lands for his sons. Noah was dividing up the lands for his sons, right? And Noah gave Japheth the land of the north. Noah gave his son Ham the land of the south. And then he also gave his son Shem the land of the middle, which is hot and cold. But I'm going to read it to you. It says, I'm going to go to verse 29 in chapter 9 in the book of Jubilees. It reads, there is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons as the portion of his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his children for their generations forever. 5 great islands and a great land in the north. But it is cold. And the land of Ham is hot. And the land of Shem is either hot nor cold, but it is a blend cold and hot. That is in the book of Jubilees, chapter 9, verse 29 and 30. Okay? So, what is the land of hot and cold? The U.S. Okay, so now, let me do something. When you look at the Americas, right? When you look at the Americas, and you just go to the state of Alabama, and I did this with my wife. I did go to the state of Alabama, then you go to the city of Tuscaloosa County. Then you go to the city of the Tuscaloosa County. But if you look at, let me go back. If you Google every city in the United States that has an indigenous or what they call Indian name, you'll be surprised how many cities in on this continent has an Indian name. You'll be surprised at that. Okay, and I'm going to go to Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa, it derives from the Muskegon word, which means warrior. The word Tuscaloosa means black warrior. Is remembering for leading a battle against the Spanish conquistadors in southern Alabama in the 1540s. The black warriors, or the black Indians, they was fighting battles in 1540s against the Spanish I can't pronounce it because my tongue get tired. But the Black Warrior River originated. Tuscaloosa River is now named for his hero, his honor. But if you look at all the cities if you just Google all the cities in the United States that has an Indian name in the meaning, you'll see that it relates back to black Indians. Illinois is filled with a lot of them. Even the Mississippi River. You know what they used to call the Mississippi River? Let me see, I pulled it up. The Mississippi River wasn't named Mississippi River. It was called the Father of Water. I believe that's it. The Father of Water, and it was named by the indigenous people. The father of rivers. That's what it is. It was named the father of rivers. So when we're looking at when they talking about the landmass, even California was named after an African woman queen. They telling us all these stories about where the land is on this and the land on that. The name Egypt did not come out until maybe I guess what I want to say around the 700 BC. But that wasn't the original name of Egypt. Go look at a 700 BC calendar and you won't even see Egypt on it. You see Cushite. You see Debes. You see other names, but you will not see Egypt. And even if you can go to, I forgot, man, there's so much stuff. But let me go to the Book of Mormons, right? Let me go to the introductory part of the Book of Mormons. The Book of Mormons. The Book of Mormons. The Book of Mormons, or the Mormon religion, started in Utah. Okay. It started in Utah. Okay, what's in Utah? It says Mount Nebo is a southernmost and highest mountain in the range of Utah. The United States named after the biblical Mount Nebo overlooking Israel, which is said to be the place of Moses' death. Okay, Mount Nebo. So the Book of Mormons, or the Mormon religion, was started in Utah. Okay? But also, if you look up and you study Utah, Utah has a lot of significance information that relates to the Bible and its contents and how it is named. But I'm about to be done in a few minutes. It says, in the Book of Mormon, in the introductory part, it says, wherefore it is a abridgment of the records of the people of Nephi, and also the Lamanites, written to the Lamanites, who are a remnant of the house of Israel, and also to Jews and Gentiles, written by way of commandments, and also by the spirit of prophecy and of revelation, and written and sealed up and hid unto Yahuwah, that they might not be destroyed, to come forth by the gift and power of God unto the interpretation thereof, sealed by the hands, and hidden of the Yahuwah, to come forth into due time by the way of the Gentiles, the interpretation thereof by the gift of El. See, they saying that the 10 northern tribes was over here on the continent of the U.S. They saying that the southern tribe was over there on the continent of what they call Africa. We were scattered all abroad. So when they say that one land is specifically for one group of people, they're not telling you the truth. Because if you just look up the lands that's related to Indians in America, you'll be astonished at how many names, or how many cities are named after Indian people. How many baseball teams are named after, that was named after Indian people. And how the Indians used to look, and how their mascots used to look. So all this truth is being revealed. The great lie was told, but now the truth is being revealed. It's coming out. But how you get your salvation? Your deliverance, your healing. How do you get your salvation? Because that's what my main teachings is about. You getting your salvation, getting your healing. Because it's, how do you get it? It says in John 8:2, and ye shall know the truth. Your salvation comes when you start knowing the truth. And the truth shall make you free. When you start knowing the truth about your identity, when you start knowing the truth about your L, and when you start knowing the truth about your original homeland, then you'll be set free. Then you won't be in bondage or captivity. See, sometimes we used to look at the Book of Mormon as, paganism and all of this and that and all this and that. Well, we might need to revamp that. We need to rethink that. They say, I was reading, they said it's over 400,000 books out here that's circulating or that is up under control of people, and we're not giving it. So how can the truth be in just 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 books? How can the truth just be in one sort of information? Because Sudan used to be Nubia. Ethiopians became a mixture of Nubians and Egyptians. Or the 3 tribes mixing together to become one Ethiopia. So there's so much information out here that we cannot isolate ourselves to just 1 or 2 books and think that we know it all because we've been studying those books. It says, 2 Timothy 2 and 15, it says, study to show thyself approved unto El, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. How we get set free by this? How we get salvation? By studying day and night. Because there's so much information out here. The Most High is really putting this information out here for us right now. And it's up to us whether we want to do it or not. That's where our salvation comes. That's when our salvation comes, is when we start knowing the truth. And start walking in the truth. Our salvation is not when we continue to walk in a lie. No, our salvation comes when we start walking in the truth. Now, it just don't come with belief. It starts to walk. So that concludes my teaching for today. I know I probably gave you a lot of information. I probably could have gave you a whole lot more. But the great lie that was told is now the truth is coming out. The great lie that was told, but now the truth is coming out. The truth about your identity, the truth about your L, and the truth about your land. Read Article 302, Section 15. Let me see something. I think that's it. I'm not missing something. No, I had to get that back. I had to come back to that. But I'll get it next week. But the truth is coming out. But let me go ahead and close with a prayer. But your salvation comes when you start knowing the truth, because your identity is starting to come out, your L is starting to come out, and the land is starting to come out. Everything is starting to be revealed to you. Just look up a lot of this information. So, Abba, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you. Abba, we give you all the honor and the glory. Abba, we just thank you for everything you have done and what you continue to do. Abba, we see your word is coming to fruition. Abba, we see that you're starting to take the fish scales off your people's eyes, and you see that we're starting to walk in the spiritual truth, not condemning, but walking in righteousness. Abba, we know that you brought us to this situation and you're going to get us out of it. And we need to humbly understand that. People are used